Okay, so we're going to work with a database rather than just setting you loose on the internet and being like, go. We're going to control our research a little bit more and use some of the resources that we pay for here at the school. So, schools, colleges, wherever, whatever institution you are at, has access likely to different databases that you can get into to pull academic research. The type of database is going to be different. The system that it works with is going to be different. We're going to use the Gale systems for what we're going to do today because for an English liberal arts end, it is probably one of the better ones. So we're going to start at the Haltom High Library webpage. You can Google it and link to it. I'm going to kind of work from here and project and kind of talk through. So if you're on the camera, that's why I'm not on the camera. Is it easier to see if I turn the lights out?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to work with a bunch of tabs today too. This is a tab that we're going to come back to a little bit. So you want to make sure to keep that open and up. And over here on the right-hand side, we're going to start with the databases link. Have you guys done much on the database end in previous classes? No, okay, good. Because my assumption was I'm going to pretend as though we've never touched these things. So that's awesome. There are lots of different ones. And again, when you get to a college level, colleges have even more databases that you can access because it becomes more specified for your field of study. We're going to deal with Gale. It's here in the middle, about halfway down. And once you click on it, it will open up a new tab for you. Make sure. There we go. Within Gale, they have a lot of ways that they index the information that they contain because our Gale access allows us access to a few different things. Some are digital only resources. Some of them pair with our book resources. So normally I would actually take you down to the library to do this so that you can see how we use the reference section. We'll get there a little later in the year. I promise, because I'm a very big believer in making you touch paper and open books and do this or that because at a college level, they don't necessarily take you to the library and show you how to use it really well. And so college librarians are saints. They understand that. And so a lot of their job is having to work with students that are nervous and worried and last minute because they don't know how to plan their life accordingly, who show up and go, I have a research paper due tomorrow and I don't know how to use a book. And so they have to be like, well, sweetie, you put it flat on the table and you open it to the left. No, not funny? All right. We're going to come down here and we're going to find where am I sending you? That's a really good question. I want to make sure I'm following the directions that are in the module instead of just like showing you, hey, look at all this cool stuff. Opposing viewpoints. Okay, good. I was right. So if you find the opposing viewpoints button, opposing viewpoints is set up by subject area. Did I lose anybody? Okay. Are you on the last screen that we were just at, this one?
Yep.
Oh, okay. If you're on the school network, it should have signed you in. If you're watching at home and I mess that up, you need the password. It's LEARN, Learn. If you're at home, it's definitely going to ask you for that. Usually, if you're on the school network, it automatically signs you in. Yes. Make sure that's all lowercase too at Learn. Then we're going to go down here in the middle. It should have the button for opposing viewpoints. We good, John? Yeah. You can use opposing viewpoints in a lot of ways. It's based on subjects. And so we could put in views of America. And it's going to tell you, hey, here's a viewpoint article that you could use. It gives you reference pieces, some biographies, some statistics. Now you notice that this one kind of limited. But if we just went to America, boom, we get lots of other stuff. Here it shows you what kinds of things you get. Primary sources, academic journals, websites, magazine articles, pieces like that. Now, America's a big topic. Was anybody able to come up with a more refined topic to start with? Something that they wrote about Monday? No, nobody found their way to talking about anything.
I wrote about like division in America. That's
Political?
yeah, like
So notice that here it was able to pull 5 stories just based on what we were looking for. Now, are these going to be the best sources? Maybe not. But it gives you a place to start. And when we're talking about research, what we want to do first is sort of see what's available and what we have. Because sometimes our research can inform us and guide us on a topic that we want to go down. A lot of times we assume that when we have to write a research paper or when we have to create an argument about something, we have to construct the entire thing completely out of our head, brand new, and revitalize the entire world, change the whole paradigm of the conversation. No. Sometimes when you have to write a paper like this and you're not sure, you can survey the research and find pieces that kind of all point you in a direction and make that the topic you'd like to address. Sometimes the research can help to inform you about what you're going to write about. This gives you the idea of, hey, let's go look and see what's available. Because what we then want to do, once we have an idea, in my mind, we want to split this in this order, is to then start to look at creating a research question. For some people, the research question might be a better first step. For others, you might need that chance to kind of see, hey, what's out there before you can come up with, what is it that I want to look for? Research questions just help to keep you focused so that when you're reading materials, when you're finding information, you're finding it with a direction in mind. You're not just kind of collecting scraps like a mouse building a home. There's good research questions and bad research questions because what we want a research question to be is specific enough to help to guide us, answerable, and something that actually is going to require a little bit of research. So I put some examples of like better research questions here. For example, if you were just like, are violent video games harmful? It's a really big, broad question. It might start that way. But if we wanted to improve it, we could ask a question like, are young adults playing violent video games causing an increase in actual violence throughout the country? Now we're giving ourselves a way to answer the question more specifically than just like, I don't know, do people die if you cut their heads off? I know that's really extreme. Some of you that are new are giving me that look, and the rest of you are just like, oh yeah, it's just Welsh. It's just Wednesday. It's all right. I did put some videos in so that if you're like, okay, I like this research question idea, I just want to see it explained in some different ways. I put 3 in there just to kind of give you different ways of approaching it. But if you look on YouTube, like there are thousands of videos of different teachers talking about how to write research questions. A research question may be helpful. It may not be helpful because you might already be like, dude, I know what I'm writing about. I got this. Get out my way. Okay. So let's say, hey, here's this piece. I read it. I like it. I think it could help me with my argument. The good thing about using a database is that, one, we know that the information that you're pulling is legitimate. you've talked in previous years about legitimate versus not great sources, right? And being able to discriminate between those. And you've probably had the conversation about Wikipedia, right? Yeah, likely. Yes, maybe. By the way, I'm the reason why we can't edit Wikipedia here at school anymore. Because in order to show how it's not a legitimate source, I would go on and doctor a page and change stuff up. And then I just got us blocked because I, changed too much stuff and it was all bad. So yeah. The good thing about having a database is that it has things that are verified, that are good sources, that are from a credible place. The other good thing is that often databases can help you with creating citations. Doing research has two sides. We need the information, but we also have to show where this stuff came from. In order to do our citations, we're going to use another tool from the library to help keep track of everything. So if we go back to our tab here for the library, and over here, click Noodle Tools. It is a website with a completely stupid name that makes me feel like a child every time I have to say it out loud. But here on the library website, we can get direct access through the school by clicking on the little dude surrounded by what I'm assuming is a noodle. Or many noodles, I don't know. Your screen's going to look slightly different when you launch it because you've never used the service. It is probably going to ask you to sign up. And to do that, all you have to do is tell them that you're a student. It will ask you, hey, what school are you at? And it should ask for your graduation year, which for most of you should be 2022. And then eventually you're going to get populated to a screen that looks kind of like this, just without any of these tiles there. Once we get here, we will pick up and commence. Anyone having trouble getting in? Anybody need more time to get to this screen? Okay, once we are into Noodle Tools, we will create a project to capture all of our references for this piece. To do that, up here at the top left, there's a button that says New Project. We're going to click it. You can title this project whatever you would like. You can title it Timed Writing, Research Timed Writing, America, whatever you choose. The second question asks, what is your citation style? Research can't be easy, unfortunately. Because we have different schools of thought, because we have different fields of study, we have different styles of how we cite things. English classes use MLA format, and most liberal arts kind of stick to that. Except for history, they got to be difficult. So often they use APA format. The Chicago or Turbian style, it still exists, but it's not as widely used. This gives you the chance to make sure, hey, as you're using this website, what do we need to do? For this one, we're going to do MLA. And then on the citation style, it just asks you that question for how many options it should unlock for you. We're going to hit junior here. We don't need the advanced for what we're going to do. And if we pick the starter, it's simply too basic. So once you've created your new project, I'm just going to go in here. Your project should open up to a page that looks kind of like this. Noodle Tools can do lots of cool things to help you to stay organized in your research. For example, you can create to-do lists in here to help yourself. You can create note cards and put documents in here and kind of use this as a way to capture everything. What we're going to be concerned with, though, is just our sources. So up here, we're going to go to this middle button, dead center on top of your screen that says Sources. Now, yours is going to be blank. You can go through and do this by hand. If you were to do it by hand, when you click this new source button, it would ask you, hey, what kind of a source are we looking at? Here we have a database. We would say it's original content. And if you've ever used any other sites like, it's the one that everybody really likes to use. There's different sites that will do this, Citation Machine or what? EasyBib, thank you. They all work more or less the same way. They provide the boxes and you just have to fill out what information you're looking for. Now, this is the good part about having a database, especially through Gale. They will do all of this for you. If you look right up here, there's a little button that says Cite. When you click it, it will show you the completed works cited citation for this source. It even gives options for, hey, how do you need to cite this? We can pull this up, and if you notice, there's a little radio button underneath that says Export to Noodle Tools. When you find something that works for you and you click the Export to Noodle Tools button, it will say to you, hey, here's this source. Does it look good? Which project do you want to put it in? And then when you click this Import Reference button, you're done. So when we look at how this can be made easy for you, dang, this is straight out simple. There's an additional step that we can take here using our Gale stuff for how to back up and keep track of what material you're finding when you research. Gale sources like this are cool because as you're reading, you can annotate directly in this window. So if you highlight material in the article that you think is interesting or important, it will pop this up and say, hey, would you like to highlight this a particular color? Do you want to add a note here that goes along with your highlighting? Maybe how you would like to use this in your paper, what paragraph you think it's useful for, what your thoughts are on it. And then when you save it, it will keep track of all of your annotations that you have open on this website at that moment. Now you might be like, okay, that's great, but what am I supposed to do with it after that? We can go over here. We can either download the article and it saves all of your highlighting and all of your annotations, or we can send it to your Google Drive. And if we push it to your Google Drive, like I said, it will save your highlighting, your annotations. It will also have a completed works cited on it. It has everything that you need. Using this database is super helpful for doing a research piece because all the steps that we used to have to do by hand back in the old days when I, rode my horse to the library and did all that, it's now automatic with clicks. So when we look here, we want to stay in the database for the research that we're doing. They have access to lots of big papers and magazines and things like that. So a lot of the Google searching and having to discriminate, we don't have to worry about that. Our goal is to start to look at, hey, how can we strengthen the argument that we started on Monday by including some outside research? We are not looking to go much further than about 2 or 3 sources over the next couple of days. That's it. We're not going to overcomplicate this. We're not going to make it more difficult than it has to be. We just want to see how we can strengthen our argument by using this additional material. Remember, something counts as a cited source as long as you are able to pull one fact or quote into your essay. And so we're not looking for you to do a ton of work with this. We're looking to just get comfortable with how do we find sources, how do we cite sources, and how do we use sources to back up our argument. Anybody have a question with these steps that we did? I know it's a lot of information that we just did at once. All of it is in Canvas. Step by step, written out instructions. Let me stop this.